This is the update on the property. We stained this deck. This has been lasting okay. It's not permanent. Some of it's a little wonky. This all still needs to be something done, but for now it looks okay. It's a little wobbly, it's not really solid or even. Still got some stones piled up in the way and had to shift a few things around. The patio here also got stained as well. I think it came out excellent. This is kind of a collection of some chairs that Elizabeth found, and Tabby and Michael had some stuff, some flowers. Well, actually it's like rosemary and some other cooking things. And then that is the track out there. There are definitely tractor tires on it. I was screwing around. Michael's got his garden thing going on over here. Got some weeds that I pulled out of the garden. They should probably be put somewhere better for composting. Nice little flowers going on. What's up? I don't know what that is. We won't look at it too hard. So then you got all this stuff here. It's sort of a small garden. I think he's testing it out. This tree I cut down to sit on, and it's been growing up a little crazy. But the racetrack, the RC racetrack, is still working out well. I weeded it. We had a little event. My boss came over with their kids. We had a pretty good time. Haha, sponsored by Pepsi, get it? And it was very enjoyable. We all had a little car going. There was a tree right here that had fallen quite a few years ago that we pulled out. This one that fell this year is still relatively green, considering it needs to come down. That's also a part of it that fell. It needs to come down as well. However, we did start clearing this area, which is supposed to be the common area for everybody to just sit back and enjoy the shade. So me and Michael went through and pulled a bunch of stumps that were just everywhere, and I don't even know how many we got, but you can see over here there's stumps and there's more there. So the idea is I'm going to cut the little trees down that aren't wanted. Oh, message, Elizabeth. More messages. Ooh, I got service. All right, cool. The one with the orange bands on it, I personally have deemed wanted. She's supposed to bring back the chipper. We're going to get rid of a bunch of that stuff. And, yeah. So this one stays. Some of these big ones, you might be wondering, why doesn't it stay? Well, I'll show you why real quick. They've got something serious going on, like this one. And it's just going to fall at some point, so why not plan it out? And then this big one here, same thing. It's got some major issue as well. So plan it out. If I'm really smart about it, I might just save that part of the tree. So this has been an ongoing project, trying to clear this stuff out of the way. Some of it I'm just letting rot away as much as possible until it becomes time to deal with it. So this is our cache of the other day. The goats, I fed them some of it, but really most of it's just going to be chipped, and then those chips will be used to probably throw it in the pond, which we can go over there in a minute. Got this running the other day. Had to cut out the fuel filter on it, unfortunately, just to get it running. I'll have to reattach that at some point. It's sitting there. It needs some love. Fuel rail still leaks, all the hoses are nasty. I tried to finish up the wood today, and I got this chainsaw from Elizabeth's brother. I borrowed it, and the bulb busted. It's a really cheap part. I just don't have one now. My chainsaw, unfortunately, you probably can't make it out, but back inside where the sprocket's at, way down in there, you know what, I'll just take the cover off. Unexpectedly, I should say. If I get the light on it. The sprocket, let's see if I can get the camera in there just right. The sprocket took a shit. You can see how it's wore out right there. We get it to focus. It's not supposed to have that groove in the middle, and that's normally where this would run. Yeah, camera froze, but just to reiterate, those teeth right there cut into that. And the teeth I'm talking about are on the back side of this chain. This is a newer chain, and I think it was actually my fault. I ran the wrong chain for a little while, like an idiot, just didn't know. And now I've got the right chain, but it's gonna have to be fixed before I can go any further. So good practice always when you take something apart is try to put some of it back together so you don't lose the parts. So anyway, the wood splitting operation is on a halt. The logs will be cut up later. We have been still collecting as much of the mulch, or whatever you want to call it, as possible. Collecting as much of this as possible while we're going, and then also storing that as well. And I think it's come along very nicely. Abby's got her compressor thing going on right now, so it's a little loud, I apologize. But it's coming out pretty good. Got a decent amount of wood here. Definitely no complaints on that. Those chairs come out of the bus, by the way. The dogs absolutely love me, as you can tell. This is sort of their little hangout spot. So you're probably hearing a motorcycle drive by right now. Let me try to restart this video. Hold on. Okay, I restarted it. Their dogs are barking. This is sort of my collage of crap in the back. I've been collecting recyclable stuff right here, and eventually I'd like to smelt it down into something or just turn it into recyclable. And this is sort of some leftover wood and some more posts over here. Some of these stumps are just going to have to go away at some point. Got my bike hiding behind the hay. So this is our hay operations that we did. Sort of just got a redneck covering of it, and I think it'll work just fine. I wasn't too impressed with the hay that we got. That's 40 some bales. They were loose and just wasn't that impressive, but I've got a spot for it, got it cleaned up. We're gonna get some more hay going on today when Elizabeth gets back, and we'll go from there. This place is a complete disaster, but it's in progress. That's sort of one of those, hey, winter's here, we can straighten it out. Right now it's a disaster, so we'll just close that. Oh, actually, while I'm at it, this is where the feed's at. It is pretty low, so we'll be getting new feet soon. Looking forward to filling that up for winter as well. Got my cache of T-posts. Forgot to count on it, but it was a decent amount. Still need to put that together. The quad, I have the kits. I've got to finish putting that together. Tires are getting low on it, and or get rid of it and get a new one. This thing's still trucking along pretty good, but the fuel seems to be causing issues. I did buy a new one a while back, but I might have to get a new one. It just seems to be getting clogged up and stuff. Goats have been getting along decent. Currently, I've got them set up so that they can walk out back while we're doing our operations. I had to pile all this up on the backside to keep the goats from beating the side of the the side of the building. Right now, This fence is live and it's open in the very back, but the goats are able to come in here and eat. You can already see how the trees are starting to change color here and there. If you look at the very top, it's like yellow on that one tree. If I pan to my left here, look at the very top of this tree, you might be able to make it out. It's brownish. Let me go over here, kind of make those out, I'm not sure. Definitely work in progress, but it's basically where I'm at. See if I can't. Ooh, I smell that hay. It smells so good. See if I can't walk down to the pond while I'm at it. Just kind of give you a rough idea what's going on there. I'm going to intentionally walk close to the fence here that me and Chandler put together. I have both fencers going on right there. They're behind the box to try and keep the water off of them. One is running this fence, not both of them. I didn't bother finishing the barbed wire because the goats don't need it. That's more for cows. And we weren't too concerned with how straight this fence was. Still got to straighten all that out. But getting it in was the bigger deal. I'd like to also say I found a new way to run the wire. So my bottom one is the ground now, and every so often I actually ground it out, but the plants help ground it out, and then the one above it is the positive, 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 positive. And the way it works is that the trees or the plants or whatever's down here has a chance to grow a little bit, so it's like super determined to grow, and it's not super determined to grow once it gets to about this size and up. So when it does finally hit the positive wire, it dies out like this one and this one. What I had before was this was positive down here, and I had a separate ground going on, and they were so determined that first little bit to be alive, they just didn't care. They were going to push through no matter what. So this is probably the best setup I've had yet. You can see how these leaves are dying off because they're touching the positive. But the rest of it, even though it's a tree that fell over, is fine. It's the best setup I've had yet. Low maintenance, low maintenance. See if I can find another good example, maybe. Yeah, very, very cool. Working out great. I couldn't be any happier with the way that fence worked out after I changed it. So, let me come over here. The pond is completely dry. I like Michael's idea of running the pigs in here. I think it'd be relatively easy to fence off. I could probably run like a fence diagonal from there and just kind of do one of these, boop, and then close it off. And should work just fine. But the only place I have water is down here, and it's not much. Oh, let me flip this over. You know, I keep telling the kids not to mess with it, but you know how that goes. Yeah, it's got water in it. It's going to drain out that hole. Just gonna lift all the way over. Yeah, there's just a little bit of water down here. I had caught 2 or 3 fish and threw them in here, and they did really well right to the very end. Sad to say, they did pass away. I don't know if you can see that. There's one more over there. So, if I can manage to keep water in here, I can put fish in here, and it'll work out. All that brush right there is going to go down into the soil and help keep it from eroding. I've done my best to try and plant things over here as well. Some of it probably won't grow or keep growing. This is onions. There's a bunch of little onions down here, and they're all doing pretty good. There's some on the island as well. I don't see any living right now, but yeah, this thing needs some work, and I think it'll be good to go. I piled up a bunch of wood there to help with erosion. I don't like the way it looks, but I think it'll help in the end. Let me come up over here. Some of my projects are completely held up by monetary reasons more than time, and a lot of my time is tied up trying to make money. So this needs to go to the house. Some more stumps and crap. Once again, you can see how the bottom wire is doing great. Nothing's dying there, and if it collects on it, it just helps ground it out. This right here is supposed to be the gate post to gate post. When I was putting this fence in, I ran out of wire somewhere around there, and so I got to get more wire to run it to here and then build a gate here. And the idea is that this is supposed to be the gate, and if I may pan to the right here, you drive down that way, and then I'll have to clear some of this stuff out, and then you drive this way and you go out that. And Elizabeth has already went through and marked a bunch of it where I want the posts, but basically I've got most of that cleared out. It just needs to be taken care of. There's a few spots, if you look right there, that there's some more of these that need to be taken to the house. It's no big deal. It reminds me I should probably text her and see if I can't get oh, look at that tree. Get her to grab my trailer from Dave. She's dropping off something over there. Yeah. So I'm going to find another spot on the fence and then show you that, and that's probably going to conclude the video. I've got a bunch of little trees that I had cut down, and they need to be pulled out at some point. They're all over the place. A lot of these little trees need to come out. I just got to be very particular about which ones I take, because I don't want to cut a tree that I care about and need, that I would like to grow and get bigger. Some of them I have already designated as keeping, some of them I have not. This one's going to be a keeper. Oh, look at that, the goats were rubbing on that tree. That's pretty neat. There's a bunch of little trees down over here, just boom, 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 cut, 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 cut. And those are in where I want the, eventually, hopefully, if I can manage to do it before I die, I'd like to put in a garage there. That'd be cool. Here comes Michael. There goes Michael. Yell at the dogs. I had to throw a plastic tarp over my red shed because some wood came down and broke it. So, no big deal. This is probably the best example I have of the positive negative on the actual fence working. You can see the bottom's growing well. Anything that's touching the top one seems to die off. Anything on the bottom's doing fine. Anything touching the one above it is dying. Super excited about that. Don't really want to share that information with any other farmer. I feel like I did very successful with that. This is a great example right here. See how that one just died off? Well, as you can see, this temp fence just sort of keeps going along. We threw it up one night after work. We did it into the dark, and it came out pretty good for what it is. I've tested a couple times with the fencer and no complaints. It seems to be working just fine. I asked Michael one day if he could run the fence up through the woods as a dummy fence, and the one that goes 90 degrees right here is dead. It's not actually electric. Might be hard to make out, but that one that one is it goes quite a ways in there. And the reason I asked him to do that is because I had the goats come out a couple times and they weren't supposed to, and I believe that's where they got out. So we went the extra mile to try to curb that issue from being a problem. I've already gotten all the extra wood out of there, and I'm keeping track of all the stones like that one, and I'm going to come back and collect the stones and try to use them as gardening type things and just make the property look better, but also they sort of get in the way when you're driving. Just not all that great. Oh, message. There's a couple more stones in front of me. Sort of just mentally keeping track of them, and I'll eventually come back and get them. And you can see most of the trees around here are green. Not a big deal. And that's pretty cool. Oops, sorry, a little bumpy. So we still got some time before fall's here, and we are damn close to finishing what we're up to, but there are some leaves falling. And there are some trees changing. It just depends on how much sun hits them. It's definitely transitioning slowly towards fall, and before you know it, it's just going to be here. And I'm excited about that. Definitely excited about that. Been trying to slowly, meticulously fill this in. You probably can't make it out. The tractor's a little crooked. That path's almost done for the fence, and right here it's just looking pretty good. There's still a lot of roots and things like that are in the way, but I'd say it's been cleared out for the most part. I wouldn't say there's any major issues. Definitely have the fence line figured out, but there are a lot of little things that need to be done. So just for the video, I'll drive up here and show what I'm talking about. And that right there, if anybody's wondering, is where I plan on hunting with my bow and arrow and hopefully get something. And that's the first apple tree I planted. Hopefully one day there'll be some apples on it. I've been trying to clear that one off the other tree. Still need to come and pull a bunch of stumps. I don't know if you can tell, but on the right side it's just little saplings and bushes that have been cut down. I'm gonna stop right here. Alright, so if you look closely, you'll see I cut a bunch of that down with Elizabeth's help. She had the kids with her. She was mostly just sitting in the vehicle, but sometimes just being around and having that support is what I need. So you can see how you can see to the other trail back there. So there's a good width of stuff just cut back, and it used to look like what's on the left. You couldn't see through it, but now you got a bunch of just cut down stuff that needs to be pulled at some point, and then that's that. It'll be done. Some of these logs got to be pulled out of here. Lots of work left to do, but everything on my right side should be where the cows are going to end up eventually. Everything on the left basically is going to stay hunting property, and I'm trying to keep enough width for the fence to be like right here, for example, and be able to drive the tractor on one side with possibly a shredder or a truck on one side, and then the other side will be enough for either a dirt bike or a four-wheeler, preferably a four-wheeler. That way I can go along with a utility four-wheeler and pick up sticks and twigs and branches and stuff. I'm going to drive a little further up just to point out the other side of the fence, and also to reiterate how much stuff has been cut back, and now it's just the dirty end of the job, which needs to be pulled out. A bunch of things need to be pulled out, like that one, those are the bigger ones. Some of those can be turned into posts. And you can see this is the other side of the fence now, and I threw this fence up, and it's to keep the goats back so that they can have plenty of foliage to eat. You can see on the right there's a lot of foliage. And I'll get up pretty close to the actual paddock by the house. Sort of just did a big loop, and once I get close to it, I can't go any further, but you can see how it's just dead where the goats are now. So pretty much getting to the end of my rope on this, and you can just basically tell how it's so much clearer through there, and really kind of clear here where the goats have been eating. but not too far back. It's just dense. And that's what the goats are here for. They're here to help me clear all this property and try to use it for whatever I need to use it for. It looks like Elizabeth's here. Oh, some more wood I gotta collect. Looks like Elizabeth's here with the chipper, so I gotta get on that project.